Buongiorno a tutti, aspettiamo come sempre qualche minuto nell'attesa che si colleghino un po' di persone. Vi ringrazio per essere qui e per partecipare. Un secondo. Allora. Così abbiamo anche la possibilità di condividere il link della diretta. Oggi siamo qui per questo quarto appuntamento. Abbiamo parlato di crowdfunding, abbiamo parlato di crowdfunding con Dario Giudici, abbiamo parlato di startup, l'abbiamo fatto prima con Angelo Coletta e poi con 14 startup che ci hanno raccontato un po' quello che stanno facendo durante la pandemia e come hanno reagito soprattutto a questo evento che ha colto un po' tutti di sorpresa. Oggi siamo qui per una cosa abbastanza particolare, interessante, che ci riguarda da vicino come organizzatori di eventi. Infatti, come potete immaginare, ecco qui, andiamo anche il link, andiamo. Allora, questa cosa ci ha colto abbastanza di sorpresa. Io organizzo un evento legato al mondo delle startup e dell'innovazione e questa cosa ci ha colto abbastanza di sorpresa e soprattutto in qualche modo sta cambiando, direi per sempre probabilmente, o quantomeno per i prossimi mesi cambierà il mondo degli eventi. E stiamo sperimentando tante tecnologie, stiamo sperimentando tante piattaforme. Oggi sono molto contento di avere con noi il founder di una di queste piattaforme che si chiama Remo, che è Hoyin, ora lo chiameremo in diretta, e Anastasia Murano, che è una delle event coordinator di Heroes Maratea. Li saluto, li faccio entrare nella diretta. Hi Hoyin. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Hi Anastasia.
Good morning. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
First, you have to tell me how do I correctly pronounce your name. It's important for me.
My name is Hoyin.
Hoyin.
Hoyin. Yeah.
Hoyin. Perfect. You are the founder of Remo. We will speak about Remo a little bit. I have also invited Anastasia, who is the event coordinator of Heroes Maratea, one of the most important events for startups and companies in the south of Italy, taking place in September, we hope. So let's talk about Remo. Remo is a virtual immersive space for events and remote work. With rooms for events, masterminds, workshops, team building activities, and so on. Remo uses video, audio, and chat to allow people within the space to interact naturally in real time from everywhere in the world. So it is all about real human connection. Hoyin, thank you very much for accepting our invitation. First of all, how is the current situation in China and what has happened since the global pandemic spread? So the impact on economy, on business, on people. We would like to hear from you.
So first off, I'm really excited that you guys invited me on your show. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Anastasia. So life in China, life is starting to get back on track. 80 to 90% of the people are now starting to go back to work. In Hong Kong, over the past few weeks, we saw an uptick in cases from people who have been traveling outside of Hong Kong and coming back to Hong Kong. Students, people, tourists, people that have gone to other countries and they come back to Hong Kong. So we saw an increase. And so for us, we actually saw more tighter regulation a bit. So people still go out, but we can't go out in groups of greater than 4. A lot of things have been closed down, but overall shopping malls and stuff are open. So in general, it's been tighter, and then now it's slowly kind of getting releasing. So I guess to say shortly, like in Hong Kong, we cannot, even though we finished the epidemic, like we've already finished, we already went through it, but we have to wait for the rest of the world. We cannot move forward unless everyone else is okay. And or else someone will bring it back into Hong Kong and we have to do it all over again. So that's why quarantining is extremely important, especially with you guys in Italy. You guys have seeing some numbers, you've passed the peak, right? So that's great. In terms of economy, not good at all. So Chinese government and Hong Kong government, we're both separate, right? We're part of China, but the government is separate. It's kind of like Monaco versus versus like kind of like that. And we have separate government, so we pump in a lot of money, a lot of money. However, a lot of businesses are not doing well at all, not doing well. So the same as in China as well. So we foresee the recession. We're already in recession already. So we'll see what happens.
And I imagine that the situation has positively influenced some business. For example, your business, I imagine, was very accelerated. The requests for solutions like yours, like Remo. Is it real?
Yes, it's very real. Just like Zoom, like any kind of product you guys have seen, I'm sure in the news, very popular. Same thing for us too. We've seen a lot of growth, a lot of new customers that have come in. So we're very excited to be able to help bring in new customers and help customers give them an opportunity to engage their customers in a different way. And also to continue to keep everyone sane, as our guys say. How can we keep everyone sane while still at home? So we've seen a large uptick in our business, yes.
Let's talk about you, your story, your personal achievements and plans for the future. First of all, how was the idea of creating a platform for online events born?
So originally, what we created was actually a virtual events platform. What we created was a virtual office platform. And I'll show you kind of like what it looks like. I can share my screen. Okay, here it goes. So you guys can pull, there we go. So this is actually our first product. It was a virtual office. So I run a fully 100% remote team, meaning everyone works at home already. And I had that company 5 years ago. And one of the key problems that we were trying to solve was what the problem is we all see today is, how do I communicate? How do I collaborate? And how do I feel less lonely? And so my team felt the challenges that we all feel today 5 years ago. And I had a team of 30 people in my company. And so we developed this map where you can double click, go into a room. I can turn on my camera and talk to people. And I can, and these are my real team members. I can go into the room and talk to them and chat and hang out and collaborate. And that's what we first came up with. But at the beginning of January last year, when we sold it, it was very difficult to sell. People would ask us, how are you different from Zoom and how are you different from Slack? I have those two tools. I don't need your tool. So we then decided to work together with a virtual summit, and we had an online event, and we had 10,000 people go through our event. And for that specific event, we created a conference map. And so we created this virtual conference. And when we created the conference, we were trying to sell the virtual office. But then after the conference, no one talked about the virtual office, zero. They all came to me and said, your conference product is amazing. Can I buy it? And then at that time it's not a product yet. Let me work on it. And then that's how we pivoted into conference.
Okay, thank you for sharing this. According to you, I imagine that you are listening to many event planners. How are event planners reacting to the current situation? And according to you, what should they do now that the whole in-person event industry is shut down due to a global pandemic?
So, the way how I see it is that like a lot of events. So to me, no one can replace offline events. Offline events is necessary. I'm not here to replace offline events, but what I do feel, and offline events.
Credo che sia per sbaglio abbia cliccato sull'uscita. Eccolo qui.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know.
No problem.
I'm not sure what happened. Okay. So after COVID, offline events will continue. So the reason as any kind of agency that does events, you must take advantage to leverage technology and explore technology today. Because if offline events occur, you're gonna forget about this. You're gonna be too busy with offline events. You're gonna go back and make more money with offline events. You're not gonna go back and explore and experiment. So right now is the best time for experimentation. So try doing virtual events, try webinars, try all these different things, and add into your portfolio of services more things that you can offer that allows you to defend your business for the future when our business has become increasingly online rather than just offline. Now you can offer two services, offline events and online events, which right now, online virtual event agencies is this new emerging industry now. It's emerging. So many of them do this now. And you can now offer two different services. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity. So I highly encourage to experiment and to try and look at all these different things. And most importantly, learn. Because a lot of offline event agencies don't know how to do it. They have no idea. They're like, I have no idea what a webinar is. This is an opportunity to learn.
Okay, thank you. Anastasia, you are the event coordinator of Heroes. Hoyin doesn't know Heroes, but Heroes is an event based on physical experience and networking activities. So this is your strongest features. The strongest feature is the seaside, the relationship with nature, and all features that contribute to stimulate and create a comfortable situation for engaging and interacting each other. How are you reacting to this pandemic situation, and how Remo, according to you, may help you in this new challenge?
Yes, so I think that the real struggle is to understand that an online event, a virtual event, can be considered as powerful as an in-person conference. And we do have to, so we must let attendees, sponsors, partners, suppliers understand that a virtual conference is not less powerful than an in-person event. So every event has its own strong points. For Heroes, business interactions and relationships are the most important. So we need to recreate a favorable environment. So we must push on interactions, on networking activities among the participants, among the attendees. And Remo allows us to build interactive engagement opportunities for the audience, for the attendees. So there are some unique features digital events should have to meet. Above all, the client's expectations, the aims, the goals that they want to reach, and that's the real struggle. A virtual event must not be considered less valuable than an in-person event.
Thank you, Anastasia. Hoyin, now you have a very special point of view on the world of online events, because I think that many organizers are subscribing to your platform, what kind of events actually the people is organizing on your platform? What kind of event? Conferences, workshops, work table?
Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of different different types of events right now. So we see like a lot of something as simple as like an online meetup, very simple online meetup where it's like 15 minutes of networking followed by 20 minutes of some sort of webinar or some sort of presentation. Could be a panel discussion, fireside chat, and then there's networking afterwards. That's very simple. And then that could be 1.5, 2 hours. And then some people do that for an entire day, for an entire summit. So we did it for a 3D printing event, 3D printing summit. In America, there's only 3 3D printing conferences. All 3 of them were canceled. And we hosted the only one online for the 3D printing industry as of today. So that's a full day summit. You also have workshops and training where we might, for example, come together and so I have one client that does digital transformation training for C-level executives. They'll come in, someone will give a talk, and then they have a breakout session, and in each table, they will have a discussion with a whiteboard. And then they will collaborate and talk. They will then come together into a presentation mode that looks like a webinar again. And each person will come up and share what they talked about. And so there's a lot of things that you could do physically that you can now do virtually in a very humanistic way. We've had many fun things, like we've had a concert. We've had a birthday party. We've had happy hours. We've had speed dating. We've had pitch nights. We've had accelerators, like tech accelerators, come in and do sort of pitch events. We've had someone want to do an unconference with us, an unconference. So like our core is workshops and meetups, and then there's like a whole bunch of other stuff that people can do.
Mm-hmm. So it's like you built a bridge between an online and an offline activities, experience. So that's really important.
Hoyin, someone in the world is saying that after all this situation, when all this situation will solve, we hope, the world will come back with to the previous state. According to you, will it happen also for the events and for the remote working, for the smart working, or we are launched to a different future?
So that's a good question. Like, what is the new normal? That's what they say. Right? What is the new normal, right? For me, what I'm seeing is that a lot of our customers. So, for example, I have a company that does recruiting events, purely recruiting events, and they used to do it offline. Okay, and they now use our product to replace their offline recruiting events. But then they found out they have many offices around Asia. Then they found they can do regional events across the entire region so that candidates from every single region can come together and the client can then recruit from a much bigger pool. So what I'm seeing is a lot of people are now forced to do online events, but then once you've done it, it's very easy to find other different use cases because it's always the first event. It's the first step that's always the hardest. But after that, they can find other use cases. And when they find other use cases, like for example, a regional event, they found extra value. They're not going to stop doing regional events. They found extra value on that. And so what I believe is this is an accelerant. It accelerates new change, new behavior that after COVID will stay. Now, the physical events, they will not use it anymore because they're going to do their physical events at the location. But they might think, oh, I can now do a virtual event in a different time that's more convenient, that's maybe less convenient for people to travel. Then they might incorporate virtual and physical events together in that. So to me, the new normal is only caused because they now have been educated about how to do virtual events. So that's what I think the new normal is going to look like. In terms of remote working, I do believe that businesses will embrace remote working better. Right now, all we've done is we've shoved remote working into everyone's business by force. And so now they're forced to do it. Now they all realized it. They will now learn from that and be able to move forward. Some of them will go back. I'm sure that some of them will go back, but some of them now have implemented the policy. Oh, now we have a work from home policy. Oh, now we have that option. Oh, what happens when we have earthquake or we need a disaster recovery plan? Now we have a lot of companies I've spoken to now develop remote working as disaster recovery. Oh, there's an earthquake. Oh, there's something happened. We now know what to do. We now know how to keep running. So it's not going to go away. Yeah.
I totally agree. I mean, we all should rethink our formats and our lives. I mean, there is no need to come to the office every morning. We can perfectly work home from the comfort of our home. And there are many, many benefits linked to the organization of a virtual event or the organization of a remote work. For example, with the organization of a virtual event, we can reduce transportation costs, for example, hotel reservations. I mean, we can reduce gas emissions as traffic jams and so on. We can reach more people because, for example, for Heroes, our guests take from 4 to 6 hours to get to Maratea, and it's totally worth it. I know it. It's a once in a lifetime experience. That's true. But we can reach more people. For example, guests that cannot have a day off from work. So wider reach, green economy, gas emissions, transportation costs and costs for the whole event. That are features to take into consideration when the organization of virtual event is on. I totally agree.
Thank you, Anastasia. We have many comments. I would like to see some questions. For example, Simone Ravenda, I agree. I'm into show business. I've created a virtual show about mentalism and mind reading. I have already 3 contracts for future offline events. Mario Lloide, with a very special question that I would like to make to you. What about technology? I always say that our approach to technology, to new technology, to very difficult technology, for example, virtual, 3D, and so on, we always use it, for example, for gaming, but for normal use, we always put off. We always put off, okay, in the future we will use. Mario Lloide is asking, what about VR online events with people represented by their avatar? Is that interesting in your opinion?
So I have a thought on that. So there's no denying that VR and AR is the future, 100%. VR and AR is definitely the future. The problem is it costs too much, and the UX of VR is just not there. It's just not human. Yes, you do see people there. You see avatars. You see that, but it's not human. We still have to work on the user experience of it, and it's very big. It's very expensive. It's remember back in the day, you had a cell phone. A cell phone was this big, and it had a little antenna, and you put it. That's where VR is at. It's not like this, right? VR is not like this. So it's time. One of the things that I feel really strongly about is people have a lot of feelings about VR and using high technology and making us use that technology to make us bend to that technology. I must wear this big heavy thing just so I can watch something. But that's not very human, That's not a very human thing. And what my focus is, humans should not bend to technology, right? When I'm texting, now texting and stuff is very important. Transaction stuff, short things, it's very good. But sometimes texting is not right. If I have a deep conversation with Anastasia, I want to talk to her about something serious. Maybe we might potentially argue. You want to use text for that. But that's what we end up doing. We end up WhatsApp message, we're texting all the time. And that's an example of us bending towards technology when it's not really suitable. And so for us, what we think is you can use very simple technology in order to connect people in a very authentic and what my view is authenticity. How do I connect in an authentic way with Anastasia, with Michelle, in a way that we don't need advanced technology? Clearly, we found a way, a very simple way. And simplicity is really key when it comes to doing that. And the second thing is you have to map to how human beings interact with each other. For example, Anastasia, if I sent you a Facebook message, hey, how are you? You don't know me. Are you going to respond to me?
It depends.
If you didn't know me?
It depends on how much
right?
you are. I go through your pictures, and if I am interested, I will, of course. But then we will set coffee or nothing. I mean, that's the first approach.
So people use communities and they expect us to develop relationships through text first, through a Facebook group. And my opinion is, I think everyone's got it the opposite way around. When you go to an offline event, we shake hands, we lock eyes, we talk, and then we say, oh, Anastasia, what's your phone number? What's your LinkedIn account? I want to talk to you one-on-one and continue that relationship, right? So we try to map it based off of how human beings behave. And so that's what we're doing. Very simple stuff. Just how do we humanize the entire experience? And I think there's a lot of things that we just haven't done yet. And Remo is a clear example that some simple things we can do allows people to feel like they're offline. And we were getting a lot of traction before COVID. Like people loved the product before COVID. Before that, we had this clear need, we have to connect. And so I think there's a lot of experimentation that's yet to be done.
Okay, yeah.
Valentina, that is one of my friends, Valentina, says that how can networking, it's not simple, this question, how can networking be as exciting and personal as during events, but online?
So when you think about, all of you guys must have been onto these Zoom calls, right? 30 people, 20 people. I love to ask everyone, is that how we all socialize in an offline event? 30 people, everyone's screen, everyone's picture is there. Do we all stand in a group, 30 people in a big circle, and we ask, hey, how are you? Hi, how's it going? Hey, you talk. One person talks one at a time. That's not how we behave in reality, right? But that's a Zoom call today. That's what we do. So the way how we do it is we found out, and it's just pretty common sense, is people build relationships in small groups, typically 6 or less. And in small groups, you feel comfortable, you talk, say, hey, how's it going? And you have that intimacy. And so what we've done is each table is a small group conversation. And you can jump into one table and move to another one whenever you want. You can talk to wherever you want, go wherever you want in a small group. So what we've done is we've scaled small group conversations. And so that type of networking allows you to go to a table, meet 5 people from everywhere around the world, go to another table when you want, and meet another 5 people that you've never met before. And so people will talk to me and said, Hoyin, I can't believe this. I feel like I'm at a networking event and I don't even have to put my pants on. That's what they said. So I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, that's great.
With flip-flops on, that's amazing.
Another question. Very interesting. Mariangela is saying, what could be the future of events for young people? And who is your typical user? I think it's a good question.
I mean, I don't want to speak for young people, but when I show this product to people between 15 and 20, they go crazy. I mean, they go crazy. They're like, oh my gosh, this is a game. Like, I showed it to a potential investor, and that investor showed it to his kids, all teenagers. And he told me, I'm so glad you showed me this product to my kids, because for once, my kids think I'm really cool. I showed them this really cool product, and the kids are showing it to all their friends. Because it's a game, it's very, the product is like a game. And so if you ask me what young people like, young people love video. They love TikTok. They love Snapchat. They love anything that's video based. So I would say it's very aligned with that. Our typical user is, right now, we target professionals. So it's between 25 and 40 is our sweet spot, mostly tech savvy. But we have a lot of people that are 50 and above, 50, 60 and above that use our product, because the challenge now is a lot of older generation, they still have to work. They can't retire as early as before. They're trying to get back in, and there are these baby boomers that need to somehow get connected again. And they want to get connected to other people of the same age. And they're trying to be they're trying to be tech savvy. So that's like another group that we have. So I have my own personal target, but we're seeing a very large between 50 and 60 now as well.
Emmanuel is asking, have you ever think to go with your platform into the schools? So use it for school?
So right now I have two schools. One is in England that uses it for their kids for distance learning. It's a boarding school, private school. They use that already. Their teacher that teaches Latin lives in France, but their students are in England. So then they have to do that. That's number one. Number two, I have a school in the United States and they teach civics. And so yes, the short answer is yes.
Antolella is asking, I think it is just about money. We need to consider our culture, the importance of people and physical interaction. We are Italians, we are Mediterranean. What do you think about this? About the physical relevance for some cultures, for example, Mediterranean cultures. It will be a limit for this, for the technology, for the digital.
So I think the question, is just about money. You mean not just about money, right? We need to consider our culture, and that we need physical interaction. Okay, yeah. So I think this is the key. This is really the key. We are not here to replace offline events. We cannot, impossible. What this all allows you is, let's say you want to learn about, I don't know, women in tech. I'll give you a good example, women in tech, right? And your local women in tech chapter or women, because we host a lot of women in tech events. The local women in tech chapter or some chapter about what you're trying to do is very limited, but you want to know what everyone else is doing in Europe. So you would have to pay money to fly to France to go to this event. But what happens if this event is online? And you could attend it at your home. And what happens, you're a woman and you have kids. Mm-hmm. And your kids, you have to, for women in tech specifically, so much scheduling. As a woman with a family, I'm not one, but people have told me, schedule is very difficult. And you have to travel there so far. Now, the barrier to entry to attend way more events is a lot more now. It's not just your local event. So this use case of how we do virtual events is not about to replace your local event, it's to expand your boundaries so that you can access other things that you would not have been able to. And that's what the value is and what we think and how we view it.
But I think that you said at the beginning that physical events cannot be totally replaced by virtual events. So we totally agree on this, about this. So that's true.
Yeah. And I think that's really important. Yeah, to know that distinction. Yeah.
Now, due to the current situation, we are forced to pivot to virtual situations, to virtual events. Okay, but they cannot replace.
There is an interesting question, especially thinking about our work. I don't remember. Oh, Tiberio, because the cancelled cost of logistic, transportation, catering, and so on, which is the future of events agency?
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So this is what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is events are going increase. The agencies that I'm talking to, they're looking at 10, 15 solutions, one being one of them. They come to me and they say, hey, we are an offline event agency and we're looking at all the online event platforms. You're one of them. And I would love to learn about your platform. And then I asked them, oh, great. So what are you going to do in the future, blah, blah, blah. And then they said, we're doing offline events and online events now, not just offline. Because we need to survive, number one. Number two is we need to expand our portfolio of services, is what they say. That's what they tell me, is we see that. I would say that these are event agencies that are very forward-thinking, very forward-thinking. There's some event agencies we go and talk to, they have no idea. They're like, oh, we just wait. We're just going to wait till COVID finishes, and then we'll start doing offline again.
Yeah, it's like digitalization in companies or industries. That's the same. I mean, if they were not ready, they are like shut down. They are locked. They are blocked. They do not know what to do, how to react to this situation.
Angela is
Absolutely.
Angela is asking how to monetize an online event. It's a good question, I think.
So, okay, so there's several types of the way how I've seen monetization very successful. The first thing is you are providing training to a group of people that need it. So you're selling some sort of online course. So there's a lot of these online nutrition specialists. They're called selling information products. So if you have a course, your course is selling your knowledge. Let's say, for example, you want to teach people how to eat well, how to do yoga, how to build a sales funnel, any kind of expertise that you have, you can turn that into a course, and then you sell that as a ticket and saying, you know, this is the course that you take, and therefore come to my events. And you use the events as a way to do introductions, like a sales and marketing. It could be like an introduction event, and to sell your course. That's one way to do it. The second way is to nurture your community together by using my platform, for example, to nurture the community so you have connections between people. If you have connections between people, your community is your value, right? People not only learn from you, but they learn from other people. And learning typically is through, hey, let's do it together. Oh, hey, I did like this. How do you do it? Oh, you do it this way? Oh, okay, I will try to do it myself that way too. So they learn from the community and from you as well. That's one way. Another way is you host these large summits called virtual summits, and you take ticket prices for that. And these summits might get a lot of speakers together on a specific topic and just talk and share knowledge. Yeah. So those are some of the ways that I've seen a lot of people be able to monetize their events. Another way is through sponsorships. So you get people to sponsor your event through monthly sponsorships as well.
Yeah, because anyway, you put into contact a sponsor, a company with attendees and people, so they can build connections and grow a business, for example. So, yeah.
Hoyin, one last question from me. Can you anticipate some development of Remo, and what's the future scenario of technologies that you will implement into Remo? Remo will become something different, or it will remain like 2D, two-dimension without other tech interactions?
So right now we're really focused on events, and we're trying to make the event experience as great as possible. So there's some really great things that we're doing, and one of them is, for example, like we want to cheers, like beers. You know, you can cheers, like really focus on some very key interactions that allow me and someone else to experience emotion and happiness. Right? And so we want to do some things like that around that from the attendee experience. From the map, we want to make the map bigger and have different areas. So kind of like a conference map, you know, you have a conference map. It's like hall 1, hall 2, networking lobby, expo. So we plan on doing that so you can jump from one place to the next, kind of like a conference map. Those are some of the things that we have in the near term that we're developing. And then a lot what we're trying to build is potentially is, you know, you have the remote office and then you have an event space, and how those two kind of come together. So a lot of people want to open a co-working space, or they want to open an open space and open office that people can come in and ask questions, and a meeting space specifically for that. So we're doing a lot of things on how do we use a physical or a map space and changing it up for different use cases. And so in terms of technology, AR and VR, I think we would love to do that. I think there is a time, place for AR and VR. We're looking at that very closely. But I don't think it's anytime soon, maybe later next year, we'll see. See how the technology is. But we feel technology should help enhance the experience, not because it's cool, not because it's new technology and we go just implement it. We have to use technology that fits the human experience. And that's what we care about. And the technology should bend to us. And that's how we see it.
Thank you, Hoyin. Are you planning a trip to Italy in the last 6 months?
So say that one more time.
Are you planning a trip to Italy when the lockdown? Have you ever been to Italy, first of all?
No, I've never been to Italy. I've been to many countries around Italy, but never been to Italy. And I was actually telling my wife this, actually, while we were watching the news about, you know, what's happening around the world with COVID. And I was like, you know, and we were telling my wife, I think we've never been to Italy, and we would love to go to Italy. My wife and I love Italian food, and we love Italian wine. So we would love to go soon, for sure.
Thank you very much, Hoyin. It was a pleasure to speak with you, and please continue working on your platform because it's very good. We are taking many online events, so we will do the same in the future when we hope everything will go better than now. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for staying.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye to you and to your team.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Allora, grazie a tutti. Ringraziamo le tante persone che hanno fatto domande. Ovviamente se avete voglia di approfondire la piattaforma siamo sempre a disposizione. Registreremo senz'altro, abbiamo registrato la diretta e la metteremo a disposizione di tutti sulla nostra pagina. E niente, vi diamo appuntamento alla prossima diretta, che sarà tra l'altro molto interessante perché parleremo proprio di tecnologie immersive la prossima settimana. In particolare giovedì prossimo parleremo con Nicola Rosa, che è un esperto di Accenture Technology di Londra, che si occupa proprio delle tecnologie e di come queste tecnologie possono essere nella realtà implementate per creare oggi e non domani delle esperienze molto più coinvolgenti e immersive. Parleremo sempre la prossima settimana con Silvia Wong, che è la fondatrice di Pronto Pro, e anche lei avrà sicuramente dei consigli interessanti da dare a chi fa startup e a chi fa impresa. E vi ringraziamo tutti, speriamo che stiate bene e che possiamo contribuire ad allietare un po' questa pausa forzata che speriamo duri il meno possibile. Grazie, buona giornata e a presto. Ciao.